Nama Sankirtanam Yasya Sarva Papa Pranasanam Pranamo Dukkha Samanam Tang Namami Harim Param. Divyatman, today in this video we will be throwing light upon the third spiritual instruction among the 20 spiritual instructions given by our beloved and worshipful Param Gurudev Sri Swami Shivananda Maharaj, and as explained further by our beloved and worshipful Gurudev Sri Swami Chidananda Maharaj. The third vital spiritual instruction is Japa. Sri Swami Shivananda Maharaj advises us to repeat any mantra as pure Om or Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Sharavana Namah, Sitaram, Sri Ram, Hari Om, or Gayatri according to your taste or inclination from 108 to 21,600 times daily. God is intelligible. Avyakta, that is unmanifest. Adrishta, unseen. Agochara, imperceptible. All this is made very clear in the Vishnu Sahasranam. He is Gudha, which means he is hidden. Eko Deva Sarva Bhuteshu Gudha. The one Lord is hidden in all beings. He is Sukshmati Sukshma, subtler than the subtlest. Avang Manasa Gocharaha, not known by the senses or the mind. Yato Vacho Nivartante Aprapya Manasa Saha, whence all speech along with the mind turn back, not reaching it. He is beyond thought, beyond speech. What then is the way to approach God? We are bound in gross physical consciousness, severely limited to thinking in terms of names and forms only. Without the basis or the support of these names and forms, there is no inquiry in our inner being. That being the case, what is it then that can link us with that which is beyond thought, speech, mind and intellect? Is there some breeze that can link us, bound as we are to outer appearances, bound in gross conceptual and objective thinking, to that which is beyond? All our vrittis, thoughts, are thoughts of sense objects. We can only think in terms of time and space, names and forms, here and there, this and that, and not of the transcendental. Bound in this state of limited, finite consciousness, what is the possibility of our trying to link ourselves with that which is infinite, beyond time and space, beyond names and forms? It is here that the great science of the practice of the divine name comes as an answer to this great problem, this barrier between the known and the unknown, the finite and the infinite, the manifest and the unmanifest, the individual and the universal, there is a chasm of relativity between us, the individual souls caught in the many and the absolute. The divine name is such a link. It is like a boatman who ferries and touches both banks of the river. It has the advantage that, like a ferryman, it can take us from this bank of the finite consciousness to the other bank of infinite universal consciousness. The name has this great advantage. God is intelligible. Whatever we know of Him in the temples, mosques, synagogues and churches is only created by man conceptual and man created. Upon all idols, we have to superimpose our own imagination of a higher being. However, this intelligible being is present with us in one tangible aspect which we can actually feel, experience, create and practice. That is the divine name, which we ourselves can articulate very clearly. It has a sound which we can hear and we can write it also. The form of God is beyond our comprehension, but there is something, an aspect of God identical with Him, discovered in ancient times, the mantra, sacred syllables of the Supreme Absolute Being. He is a sound that is formless and therefore it has contact with the formless world. Brahman is Nirakara, formless, and Nirguna, without attributes, whereas the divine name is formless but with attributes. It is in the form of sound, it is in the form of name, it has a vibration, it has a tangible sound which you can hear. We can produce it on gramophone records, we can produce it on tape recording machines, we can put it into any media and once again reproduce it. We can send it across the seas, we can amplify it, we can broadcast it through microphones. So there is something we can do what we like with, and the greatest astounding truth about it is divinity in manifestation as sound. It is divinity manifest as Nada, which Vedanta refers to as Shabda Brahma, Nada Brahman. He who is Nada Bindu Kalatita, beyond sound, time and space, is caught by Nada. He can be thus approached by this particular Nada because it is formless. So it is at once that principle that has access to both fields, the formless Parabrahma field and the Saguna field of names and forms in which we are living. For us, everything has some quality, and sound is one of the 5 main qualities perceived by us. Shabda Brahma or Nada Brahma is identical with God. The Lord and His name is identical. Thus, every mantra composed of the divine name, containing the divine name, framed around the divine name like Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Sri Ram, Om Sri Krishnaya Namaha, Om Sri Ramaya Namaha, is structured around this Sakshat Pragata Swarupa Paramatma, direct manifestation, form of the Supreme Self. Patanjali has a sutra which says that perfection can be attained by the repetition of the divine name. And Jagat Guru Lord Krishna says, he who repeats my name at the time of leaving the body attains me. He doesn't return once again into this mortal world. The Abhedata of Nama and Nami, the identity of the Lord and His name has been established by direct experience by those who have practiced this path and attained perfection. One among those whom we know within historical memory, who attained self-realization through the practice of the divine name, was the Guru of Shivaji, Samartha Ramdas, who knew nothing and did nothing except repeat Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. On the other side of the Indian subcontinent in Bengal, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, attained the great state of the divine consciousness, became inebriated with God consciousness through Nama Sankirtan of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. He travelled to Vrindavan and throughout the length and breadth of India and established the supremacy of the name as the one unfailing sure method for attaining God consciousness in this Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga Kevala Nam Adhara. The name of the Lord is the only refuge in this iron age. Repetition of the divine name is only a revival of an ancient method. Long before Lord Rama incarnated in this world, the hunter and dacoit Ratnakara attained perfection through constant practice of the divine name. The name made up of two letters, Ra and Ma, the Taraka Mantra. He didn't know anything. He was illiterate, uncouth, uneducated from a forest hunting tribe, and he actually repeated the name in the wrong way. In Sant Tulsidas, Sri Ramcharitamanas, there is a saying, Ulta Nama Japata Jagajana Balmika Bhayo Brahma Samana. The whole world knows that Valmiki attained Brahmic consciousness, attained the great realization Aham Brahmasmi by doing japa even in a wrong way. He became renowned in Indian spiritual history as one who had attained that supreme state of Brahmic consciousness by japa and japa alone. He didn't know Sanskrit, he didn't know Vedanta, he didn't know the Upanishads, he didn't know the Bhagavata, he didn't know Ashtanga Yoga or Kundalini Yoga, he didn't know Asana or Pranayama, he didn't know anything. Therefore, he could only do what he was capable of doing. Even though he was unlettered, he became endowed with Brahmic consciousness and thus became an illumined sage. He became the great sage Adi Kavi Valmiki, who produced the immortal epic, the Valmiki Ramayana. He was a murdering desperado, a dacoit, cruel, violent, a sinner, yet he became one with Brahman in his spiritual consciousness through the repetition of Rama Nam. Therefore, with every breath, utter the name of God. Take to this unfailing, sure path, the path of the divine name. In this Kali Yuga, it is supreme. It is the least complicated, most efficacious and simple method. All saints and spiritual teachers of India over the past 300 or 400 years have never failed to lay great emphasis on the practice of the divine name as an unfailing and certain way to attain God realization. Gurudev Sri Swami Shivananda Maharaj says, do japa of any mantra, any name that is to your taste, or just Om from 100 times each day to 21,600 times, that is from 1 mala to 200 malas, are the number of breaths that we take every 24 hours. The more the better. A trader or a businessman never questions how much should I earn. He ever tries to increase his wealth. Like that, this great golden key has been given for you to attain Chitta Suddhi, that is purification of the mind, Bhakti, that is devotion, Dharana, that is concentration, Dhyana, that is meditation, Ekagra Dhyana, one-pointed meditation, and ultimate Sakshatkara, realization. It is in fact a Sampurna Yoga or a complete yoga itself. Hari Om. Harinama Harinama Harinameva Kevalam Kalo Nastyiva 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 Gatiranyatha. Hari Om.